Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, where Nate is stealing my focus. So, hey, this is better Nate than ever. That's today's ever, not never. I said never yesterday when this was randomly picked. Better Nate than ever is the actual title. It was in my list as never, and that's what I go with. That's what I know. So, this is a brand new film, musical. It came out in 2022, a couple months ago. Not sure exactly when. Maybe it was April? Yeah, April. Well, it came out last year, almost a year ago. It's an hour and 35 minutes long, and yeah, it is a musical. Of course, it's you can tell from the font that it's like Broadway lights. It's about a kid who wants to become a Broadway star. He wants to be a star in a musical in his hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or a small suburb of which he wants to at least get the lead in that. He has no idea that his ambitions don't go so far as Broadway just yet, but something happens, something comes across that his life that makes him go, well, you know what, I'm going to take a secret road trip to New York City suddenly with his best friend, right there. She's played by Aria Brooks, and he is Ruby Wood. If I got the pronouns wrong, I don't know. Okay. Nate is obviously gay. It's not like, oh yeah, of course he's gay because he's going to Broadway. No, it's because they don't make these stories about straight guys wanting to be on Broadway. It's just not a story that's ever made. And it's on Disney Plus, and it's about inclusion and everything else when it comes to LGBTQ. Yeah, the kid's gonna be gay. It's not a problem. And in fact is, they don't actually hook this entire story on his sexuality, which is fine. He's 13, and it's just who he is. Yeah, there are certain things. He gets bullied a little bit, but it doesn't seem predicated just on how he presents himself to others. There's a little bit of a misunderstanding with someone who kind of likes him. He's like, I'm not that way, which makes it clear that he is not into girls. But that's the extent of it. And he has mannerisms and just the way things are. It's just who he is. But they don't hook the entire movie on this. This is all about a kid with dreams and a kid with talent and taking risks and taking chances. And so yeah, you get a bit of a kind of a big adventure in an hour and a half for a kid that is suddenly jumping beyond what his current dreams are into something so much bigger. And it's kind of fun. He's an immediately appealing kid. He's got a great sense of humor. He and Libby, Nate and Libby are the characters, the two best friends. They jump on a bus and they head to New York City. And yeah, he has an aunt who is kind of his hero, played by Lisa Kudrow. By the way, she's so far down the cast list on this that I didn't realize she was in it until she appeared on screen. And I was like, why is she not further up the list? Because she's essentially the most famous person in this film. So yeah, she shows up in this as well, and she's an aspiring Broadway actor as well. But is she doing that great? Well, you'll have to see. No, because again, there's a lot of people with dreams, and not everybody gets to live out their dreams 24/7. But it's all about inspiration, and it's about going after those things and seeking out the things that inspire you, emulating the things that inspire you to take big steps and big risks. And it's a kid who has a lot of talent, but he's also pretty lucky. This is not everybody's story, obviously, but they're not going to tell us a story about somebody who fails unless it was filmed in the early 1970s and there was drug use involved. I don't know. It's not that story. It's not a sad, depressing story. It's very uplifting and it's fun. There's lots of good humor, and of course Lisa Kudrow, as you know her from Friends, Phoebe. she adds quite a bit of humor to this. She's not Phoebe in this, of course, but she's definitely has that Lisa Kudrow delivery that works in so many ways. So yeah, he has to. I'm not going to tell you the whole story or plot, everything else, but he and Libby head to New York City, and part of this is also kind of a, oh, you're somebody new who's just gone to New York City for the very first time. Yeah, you get a lot of humor out of that. His fish out of water experiences, just trying to ride the subway or dealing with strange weather and people, and they just figure it's going to be a day, an afternoon, and it turns into a bit more than that. So one of the things that makes this very much a Disney production is that he's trying out for a role in the Lilo and Stitch, the musical, coming to Broadway, which is not a thing. As far as I know, it's not a thing that's going to happen anytime soon. But yeah, he's trying out for, we presume, Stitch, but I'm not sure he really understands who he's trying out for when he goes out for this role. And yes, this is a musical, but it's not your typical musical where people burst into song to advance the storyline or express a bigger emotion that they can't speak aloud normally. Each of the musical sequences actually are in the world, as in, like, there's a moment when he's out on the street where there's always musicians or peddlers or other people in costumes, waiting for photo ops and things like that, dressed as Elmo. In this case, there's a band that's just playing Broadway, the song. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. But he joins in, and suddenly, he finally, finds a hook. So he and these musicians he sort of meets up with just start blowing the roof off the dump right in the center of Times Square. And it'd be kind of cool to see that, because it looks like they were really shot it in Times Square, unless they were using the volume or something like from The Mandalorian. But it looked like Times Square, so it was pretty good performance. And there's also a moment where you actually do it. The question is, do you ever get to see anything from Lilo and Stitch, the musical? In his audition, yes, you get to hear a song that would presumably be sung by Stitch in the Lilo and Stitch musical. Yeah. And yes, I know that question is asked. Stitch doesn't speak clear English, so why? That thing. I'm interested in what Chris Sanders, the guy who created Lilo and Stitch, thinks of this. So it'd be kind of funny. I gotta ask him that next time I see him at Comic-Con. It's interesting. Anyway, yeah. So this is actually I actually enjoyed this more than I thought I would. It's not meant to, like we saw Trevor the musical a few weeks ago. Or last week, I don't know, it feels like forever, but it was literally a musical that was filmed, and it was about a kid struggling in the 80s with coming out and everything else. And this is not that story. It's a very different story. Yes, the kid's gay, but it's very much about following your dreams, and it's fun. It's dealing with family, yes, because Lilo and Stitch also deals with family. Family accepting you for who you are, and feeling accepted. Not just them accepting you, but you actually feeling accepted, getting that love that you might not necessarily feel from certain family members. And also, there's certain struggles in the family otherwise. So it's that I'm not going to go into, but there's other family struggles. There's a reason why Lisa Kudrow is she's kind of estranged from the family. She's not really hanging out with them much. But I think this is a neat little snapshot of New York. It's a neat little snapshot of Broadway auditions, and I think it's fun. I enjoyed it. So this is based on a book by Tim Federle. I hope I said his name right. Federle, yes. He directed it, and he wrote it, and created it, and wrote a book, and it's pretty dang good. This is, you got all that and you got it thrown on Disney Plus. So let's pick tomorrow's episode.
264.
264. Took a while there to say it. Huh. You know what? I think... Okay, never mind. Yeah, I thought we'd seen this before, but I always think of... we've seen stories written by the character in the title here, but not necessarily stories about this character. But something tells me we've already seen this, but I could be wrong. We'll find out, because we missed... By the way, this is the last thing in the list before like a whole slew of Marvel things. So when we hit the 260s or so and beyond, there's a lot of Marvel stuff. But this is the last thing on the list before Marvel shows up. This is Mark Twain and Me. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think this might be an older film. Part of that whole Disney movie series they used to have back in the 60s and 70s and stuff. Magical World of Disney. Possibly. I could be wrong, but we'll find out tomorrow. Mark Twain and Me on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Bye.